Welcome back to Talk Tuah, the official companion podcast to Talk Tuah with Haley Welch. I'm Peter.
And I'm Cam, and guys, today we are covering an amazing episode 3.
That's right. We're back in the studio this time. We had a bit of a detour in episode 2 where we went back to Haley's hometown. We met a couple of her friends, met Granny, but now we're back in the studio. And we noticed a couple things different.
My mouth is agape because I feel like they're listening to us.
Yeah.
I think they took our criticisms, our feedback, when we broke down episode 1 in the original studio somewhere in West Hollywood.
Yeah, probably Beverly Hills.
We were talking about the fact that the Talk Tuah sign with Haley's name on it, the neon was blown out to smithereens.
Super overblown. But they fixed it. They remedied it this time, and we actually copied their solution a little bit here. They decided to just display the show title just on a screen in between Haley and her co-host for the episode, her guest host, Kaitlyn Bristowe.
Well, and the thing is, though, I'm happy because it also seems like they ditched the original camera operator, the guy that was going crazy with a handheld camera.
Yeah, truly could not keep a steady hand on that thing.
No. And the thing is, they locked off all the shots on tripods. It feels like a more traditional podcast now.
Yeah, they kind of cut out the middleman. They figured, why not just put these cameras up on a stable platform?
A stable platform doesn't need a 401k.
That's true. We're cutting costs. We're keeping this pretty independent. Not getting too many strings attached to a show like this.
But still, it isn't Haley alone because Chelsea shares the spotlight a little bit.
She's
right?
quite a recurring character.
Yeah.
Already in the first 3 episodes, I think Chelsea. They're making it clear that Chelsea will probably be a pretty dutiful companion host throughout this series.
Yeah, well, I think she's a great bouncing pad for the show, and I also noticed. Excuse me.
Yeah, of course. Bless you.
Thank you. That Jamie's there as well. I mean, we don't see Jamie, which is Haley's manager.
Yeah, Jamie got cut from camera time. He's more truly behind the scenes this time.
Yeah, and he'll say some things here and there, but I think he is more on the technical side where we could use him probably better.
Yeah, it doesn't have to get paid for his cameo credits. Again, I think they're probably cutting back on costs with this podcast, which I think is a promising sign. You're just keeping it simple, just talking, getting to know Haley.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is because throughout all these guests that we've seen, Haley shines in each and every one of them.
Yeah.
Now let's get into it.
Yeah.
I want to be blunt here.
Okay.
Can I be blunt?
Be as blunt as you want.
Didn't love the guest this time. Really,
yeah.
I didn't.
I felt that from you as I was sitting next to you watching this episode. I felt your energy was a pretty hostile, and I think there were a few moments where I, fell out of step with what Caitlyn was hawking, was selling to us.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I thought overall, I think Haley was able to fend her off pretty well. Haley met something of a match, but held down her fort. Yeah. And I think Caitlyn, I don't know, she offered a couple of positive bits of discussion.
She came in almost like a child of Manson or something. A flowered child, just spouting some woo-woo bullshit.
Okay, yeah, that segment lost me a bit.
So let's break it down. So for those of you who don't know, Caitlyn is from Canada. She was on The Bachelorette in The Bachelor.
I think they said Bachelorette. Maybe she came back. Maybe she came back for the companion series.
She was on The Bachelorette, but, as we get into the podcast, she starts talking about, she has imported dogs from South Korea. Yeah. She's asking Haley what her and Pookie's 5 love languages are. She's, asking her about her ovulation cycles.
Yeah, her cycles.
And, I'm trying to remember what else she said, but a lot of it really was this kind of, bullshitty. She's talking about doing, she has spiritual advisors.
Yeah.
She goes to therapy 8 times a day.
Yeah.
And, all that is met with Haley just kind of what are you talking about?
I think Haley felt a bit lost in these moments for sure. Or not lost, but definitely more okay, I don't know if I'm going to, follow you along.
Oh, come on. I think she bit back a little harder than that, especially when Caitlyn was saying that if she saw her partner flirting with someone else, it wouldn't make her jealous. In fact, it would turn her on.
Yeah.
And Haley immediately dismisses that, saying, oh, if I saw Pookie talking to some broad at the bar, I would pull out my baseball bat.
Yeah. Haley made it clear her traditional values, that she values a monogamous relationship. Yeah. And yeah, she definitely pushed back a bit on Kaitlyn's nonsense in those moments.
But it's interesting because we have to remember that Haley is from the South. Yes, she's Gen Z, and I think people always say Gen Z is very gen-rotted and, super one-way. But I think Haley showing time and time over again that she's an old soul.
Yeah, and they say that in this episode. Yeah. They make it clear. They all voice agreement that Haley's a bit of an old soul.
I think so. So getting into the episode, Kaitlyn came in strong. She came in immediately with a joke about that she picked up from her bartending days.
Yeah. She had some food service experience. Plenty of apparently male customers came up to her and would be like, she would ask if they'd want water, and they'd be like, "Oh, no, fish have sex in that." Yeah. And so she brought that to the studio. She brought that bit of heat, and it got Haley, laughing right off the bat.
Sure,
it's a pretty ridiculous kind of one-liner.
It's a ridiculous one-liner, and I'm glad she made it clear it wasn't her joke. I would have preferred her coming on with maybe more original written material because
she was a bit of a Carlos Mencia in a moment like this.
But the thing too is, Kaitlyn came on very prepared, ready to go with notes. This is an interesting duality because Haley wings it every single time. Yeah. She goes with her gut.
Yeah. That's all she needs to steer her.
And I think a lot of these like Haleyisms of the things she says, like from Poochie Banana to, whatever, it's all spur of the moment.
Yeah. And Haley, she hears Kaitlyn talk about her waiting days, and Haley says, if you were my waiter, I would hit on you.
I think it's pretty obvious by now that Haley, I wouldn't label her as bisexual. I think she knows.
She plays fast and loose with her sexuality.
Sure, that Poochie Banana, you don't care if that's man, woman, whatever.
No.
Just getting spit on that thing.
Yeah, she will. She's not shy about Talk Tuah on anything.
But I think the thing, too, is it's interesting because Haley is more traditional in a lot of senses. But then in some senses, the spectrum of sexuality and who she's attracted to, she's way more open than I think a lot of people would admit.
Yeah. The old soul even stretches into the spectrum of sexuality. I think even though she plays this traditional stance, I think she's more wants to lock it down. She's not afraid to lock things down. She talks about locking things down with Pookie this episode.
Okay, that was a big part.
That was huge. I gasped and I think you heard me gasp. You were sitting right next to me when she reveals that Pookie is officially her man. I know you had your doubts.
Officially her man, yeah. She says that. She's an entertainer. She's feeding us the Pookie. Pookie's a fan favorite.
Yeah. I mean, he's a fan favorite of mine. And I know you were really betting on her going with Matt Rife.
Not betting.
No, I bet you were. I bet you were placing bets behind the scenes. You were committed to the Matt Rife movement. Yeah.
Jeez. I mean, okay, so what? I bet on the election, whatever, but I'm not betting on things like this.
Yeah, you bet on Klarna.
Look, the thing is, Matt Rife is who Haley really has the hots for, not Pookie.
No.
I don't want to have to fight you on this, but listen, Pookie, it's a thing of like, dude, when you're, she's what, 20, 21, 22?
22, I think.
Okay, Pookie's 24.
Yeah.
He's young. They're both young.
He's a bit of a male cougar.
He is a male cougar. But Matt Rife, he has the experience. He has the means to be able to take care of her. I love Pookie. But come on. He's working construction. He's trying to get his own life together. He wants to maybe move up, be his own foreman down south in Nashville, whatever, on the site. That's a lot to juggle. And now in the public eye, as I've said before, I think Haley needs, right now, a power relationship. She needs to date another celebrity. Pookie isn't going to do it for her.
You're saying that after she said that if any woman looked differently at Pookie, she'd go to bat for it. She's very protective of Pookie.
Pookie could be anyone. Pookie's just the name of someone that she has the hots for. This guy, Pookie, Matt Rife could be Pookie.
No, I think she'd made it clear that Pookie speaks her love language of food. She established that she has what she believes is the 6th love language of food.
Yeah, she doesn't believe in the 5 love language bullshit.
No, but we know that Pookie took her to Taco Bell.
Okay.
Did Matt Rife offer her any kind of food or concessions?
I'm sure he has some Baja Blast in the green room.
You know what Matt Rife has in the green room? Bodies of dead girls.
Okay.
Haley is having psychosexual nightmares about Matt Rife.
Nightmares.
That is how in love she is with Pookie.
Okay, so
she can't even fathom being with Matt Rife.
Okay, so Haley got a little out of pocket this episode.
Not out of pocket.
She started telling Caitlyn that they were talking about Pookie, and then she said she had a very traumatizing nightmare.
Yeah,
she said that
she had to throw her Matt Rife body pillow to the ground when she woke up.
She said she woke up sweating. So this is the dream that she said she had. She said there were a couple janitors working cleaning up after one of Matt Rife's Matt
Rife. Matt Rife. One of Matt Rife's shows. The janitors were cleaning up, and Haley, Matt Rife comes out looking for her. He's got a pretty mischievous grin on his face. And
let's not exaggerate.
Haley, it's a 5-alarm fire in her head. She knows to run immediately.
Okay.
She stumbles into a closet, discovers the bodies of dead women terrorized by Matt Rife.
Look, the thing is, Matt Rife, he's a talented comedian. He's not a mass murderer.
Sure, I'll give him that.
The thing is, she kind of had this Freudian nightmare where she saw him as a Patrick Bateman going around murdering women.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that, though. Think about American Psycho.
Yeah.
The intersection between these insane nightmares and situations and then sexuality, it's pretty insane. You know? And look, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychiatrist. But Patrick Bateman was a lot of people's Halloween costumes this year. He's sexy. He's fun. It's like something about that kind of turns you on in a weird way.
So you're saying it'd be a good thing if Haley started having nightmares of Pookie going around slaughtering innocent women?
I think the reason she doesn't is because she just sees Pookie as the safe, steady option.
Safety's good.
But guess what? That gets boring.
It's good to be safe.
But that gets boring. Nice guys finish last. The thing is, you want a guy like Matt Rife, you know? I mean, he smokes cigarettes sometimes, you know? I think he drives 15 over the speed limit.
Yeah, Matt
I've heard him say
Strife.
that.
A lot of struggles with that guy.
He's not a certified badass. Come on. She wants a guy that is going to take life by the balls. With him, it's going to be nonstop laughing. Okay? He's on the fucking rise. He's hot right now.
Haley doesn't have to compete with another comedian. She's already funny. She's enough of a trailblazer.
That's what would make them the ultimate power couple.
I don't see it.
Matt Rife is truly the voice of a generation. I think for her to choose Pookie over him, I'm sorry, he could buy her 1,000,000 Taco Bells whenever she wants. Okay? Pookie, it's cute, but it's going to get boring real fast. I can't fight you anymore in this.
At least she'll have a good night's sleep every night with Pookie.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about
I can't fight you anymore
nightmarish
on this.
fantasies. I guess we just move on about, there's talk of Mr. Pinky in this episode. When Pookie comes up, Haley, counters, talks about Mr. Pinky.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a mystery the entire episode. She's not quite quick to reveal who Mr. Pinky is. I thought she was talking about the character from South Park, Mr. Hanky, for a second, and I was a little bit thrown off.
I thought she was maybe alluding to Pookie. Mr. Pinky, Mr. Pookie.
Okay.
It almost felt like a very like Reservoir Dogs-esque kind of character who, I think there's some intrigue behind Mr. Pinky, and we were wondering who that was. Is this a competitor to both Matt Rife and Pookie? Is this a third guy?
Yeah. Okay.
I
mean, given Haley's traditionalism, I think it was safe to assume that it probably wasn't a physical, like another man.
I never caught that because they were very cheeky about it, and they were saying, "Oh, we're not going to tell you who Mr. Pinky is. We'll tell you after the app."
Yeah.
At the end of the app, they did admit who Mr. Pinky was.
He lives in Haley's sock drawer. I took that as an innuendo for like a pair of socks.
He is her vibrator, Mr. Pinky.
Vibrate. Okay, wait. Okay, Haley. That's pretty clever.
Don't underestimate Haley,
yeah.
please.
Probably like a rose kind of vibrator. That's where the pink comes from.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking of that. I was thinking maybe Mr. Pinky, like maybe a vibrator that's very tiny, concealable.
Oh, there are those too.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I think we might be on different sites looking at different products.
Sure, but so, and again, this was kind of a mind-blowing moment to know that Haley is so brassiere about the kind of sex she has and the kind of toys she uses.
Definitely a bit sexually liberated.
Yeah.
Which I guess I never saw that coming.
Well, but it's interesting because I think it's her saying, look, I have my sexual needs.
Yeah.
I'll take care of that when need be.
Yeah.
Because again, her biggest form of intimacy is food. That's her love language.
Yeah.
But also it's interesting because I do sense some kind of codependency with her and Pookie. When she was talking about it, she was saying, I crave intimacy with Pookie, but then sometimes with a physical touch. And when I get that intimacy, I get scared and I feel suffocated and I want to run away. And I almost read her as kind of a anxious avoidant type. You know what I mean? Where maybe she feels like she wants to hang out with Pookie all the time. She feels suffocated.
Yeah.
And then when she's not hanging out with Pookie, she's constantly thinking about him.
Okay.
So it's interesting. I mean, I think it triggers this part of her brain, this fight-flight thing that, Pookie takes up. I will give you that. Pookie takes up a big space in her brain.
Of course. Yeah.
But I wonder how they can navigate that with the codependency being healthy.
I mean, the anxious avoidant theory, that dovetails nicely with the discussion of whether Haley would be able to handle being on The Bachelorette or a show like that.
Sure.
They brought it up. I mean, I think Caitlyn believes that Haley would crush on a show like The Bachelor. But Haley was a bit hesitant to agree with that. I think she would struggle with that much attention on her in that kind of a circumstance. And I think she talked about how she would be more quick to make allies and friendships with the other women on a show like that.
Oh, I think she was even hinting. I mean, we know that Haley's very open in the scales of love. So that Poochie Banana, we don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah. Pookie, Matt Rife, he might have more competition than you ever believed.
Truly. I mean, look, the thing about Haley going on a show like that is it almost disqualifies a lot of people in that scenario because Haley is such a powerhouse that it's going to make it a lot harder for people to compete. It might make people judge her and dislike her right off the bat and kind of maybe dismiss her as like, oh, you're the Talk Tuah girl.
Yeah. When totally unfair.
In reality, if they watched Haley's podcast, they would know that she's a person that deserves to have a platform.
She's so much more than just Talk Tuah.
She's funny. She's quick. She's so original, not artificial. She's not a Nepo baby or of any sort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think of the revelation that Haley, is a bit of a deadhead, smokes a bit of kush?
I think that's fine. She's in her 20s.
Okay.
No big deal.
Yeah, I think Caitlyn was expecting about the same, but Haley was like a bit shy, coy about it. I guess she's not sure of the legality of weed in a place like Los Angeles, where I think they're recording these episodes. But Haley, weed is legal in Los Angeles.
Oh, is it? Is
Yeah.
that what Gavin Newsom has said?
Yeah, he said, yeah, I think a couple of years ago back, I think he said that weed is legal in Los Angeles and Greater California. So Haley, feel free to light up. Don't be shy about
Now,
that.
I wonder who Haley's alter ego is when she smokes pot, because we know that when she drinks brown liquor, we see Harley.
Yeah.
Who, as she has said, is ready to fight a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
Kind of vibes.
Yeah, maybe like Halsey is her weed persona.
I think, you know what though, her smoking weed, I almost can't picture because I feel like it would mellow her out too much.
That's interesting.
I don't know. We haven't really seen her.
How do you tame her?
Yeah, exactly.
She is such a fiery soul.
But maybe she really likes just kind of snuggling with Pookie.
Yeah.
Getting some Taco Bell.
Lighting up, being in comfortable sweatpants.
Do you think I wonder if they ever sit together and cuddle up in bed and watch Matt Rife stand up?
I mean, based on what I know, I feel like Pookie's a pretty understanding guy. I'm sure he wouldn't be like jealous of that.
Well, if he wants good comedy, he'll fucking watch it.
Yeah.
What else would they be watching?
Yeah. There aren't many people out there competing with him. Doesn't have many. No, with Matt Rife.
Yeah, no.
Not on that stage.
But, and again, I don't want to get back into it, but he's certainly locking down the entertainment world. So I'm like, Haley, if you get the chance to date this guy, please, let's jump on this. I think it'd be great.
But think about what Pookie provides for you.
Sorry, Pookie.
Okay, Haley? What else we got?
Well, they talked about weed. I don't know if you're ready to jump into it, but I mean, there was one part. I mean, I don't even want to joke around about it. I mean, Kaitlyn talked about hitting rock bottom and what that was like for her and how she rebuilt her life. I thought it was beautiful.
It's pretty heavy. Pretty heavy stuff for episode 3 of what's a lighthearted series. But I guess that just shows what Haley is providing as like a platform for people to heal and share wisdom.
Yeah.
I guess, it just speaks to the power of a show like Talk Tuah.
I think so. And Haley's pretty well-versed in circumnavigating intense trauma and then, coming back to very lighthearted, giggly stuff.
Yeah. I mean, so Kaitlyn talks about her worst breakup. Haley asks her what her worst ever breakup was like, and Kaitlyn reveals that the cops had to get involved. It seemed like a pretty serious case.
Yeah, I mean, it was honestly depressing. Kaitlyn, I guess, kind of put everything into a relationship. She lost
Gave
friends.
It her all. Yeah.
She was living with this guy. She only had $5 in her bank account.
Yeah, $5. I don't know how you get to that.
It's not even a coffee in LA.
No. It's like half a coffee. It's like an espresso shot these days.
Maybe. I mean, she was living with this guy, no career or anything. This is her at 26.
Yeah.
And then, she was addicted to Valium.
Yeah.
And, they broke up, and then I think she just had this...
It all crumbled.
She had this meltdown, but then she said, rock bottom, she shared a beautiful quote about rock bottom.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't that beautiful because I can't even remember it. It was her story that I remember.
It was more the testament of her story. She shares that she came back. She's better than ever.
That was the essence of the quote, yeah.
Yeah, she appeared on The Bachelor. She has her own wine label. She's got so much going for her. She's 39 now, so just 13 years later, she has just reclimbed the mountain of life. And in fact... she felt comfortable enough to the point where Haley asks her, do you feel like you're on top of the world? And Kaitlyn goes, oh, no. And she laughs it off. But, I mean, keep in mind, she's on Talk Tuah.
Yeah.
I felt that was a bit of a jab. I mean...
Well, not the first jab on the show.
Yeah, there's been plenty of jabs. I feel like Haley has to combat a bit of superiority complexes from her guests so far.
For sure.
They believe that they're better than being on Talk Tuah, which I think is pretty despicable, pretty deplorable behavior. But I mean, Kaitlyn, maybe you don't think you're on top of the world, but just check the view count. I mean, this is a hugely impactful program.
Bro, she's sponsored by Better.
Yeah. And in fact, Kaitlyn used this platform to push a couple of her own things, which I thought was bullcrap. Kaitlyn wasn't above hawking her own, or just talking about her own gym where she works out. She was hoping to get a brand deal at Barry's.
Oh, yeah, she was asking about that. And then later in the ep, Haley was so vulnerable when she's like, I wish you would just adopt me, whatever, because, Haley has some mommy issues.
Yeah.
And Kaitlyn joked back and said, sure, I'll adopt you. Of course, only need to take 10% of your earnings.
A manager's cut.
I found that very off-putting. It felt like she was roasting both her and Jamie at the same time.
Jamie was literally in the room. It's just, I don't even know where you get that kind, like develop that kind of mentality to think that's okay.
It's one hell of a faux pas.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, she would just, kind of come in with those little jabs.
Yeah.
And the girls would laugh it off. I think the biggest one that honestly really rubbed me the wrong way was when she attacked Chelsea.
Yeah.
I want to get right into this.
Yeah.
Kaitlyn verbally attacked Chelsea.
Yeah, that's right.
Haley's co-host.
Yeah.
She was talking about how, obviously Haley is fucking king.
Yeah.
And then she says, oh, but Chelsea, you're great too. You're like silent thunder.
Yeah. She goes from, rightfully praising Haley and then drops that kind of like a bomb.
Think about that though. Silent thunder. So let's break this down.
Yeah.
Lightning is silent, but you can see it. Thunder, you can only hear.
Yeah.
So silent thunder, a thing you can only hear. Imagine if it's silent.
Yeah.
Nothing.
It's nothing.
She's saying in a roundabout way to Chelsea that she's dog shit.
She's nothing.
Yeah.
She's an undefined kind of thing.
She's saying she's not even dirt.
No. Like
just
literally
air.
Just non-existent in her
Which
world.
I found, that was incredibly off-putting to me because...
Felt catty.
It was incredibly catty. Are you kidding me? The thing is, yes, it's Haley's show.
Yeah.
Haley obviously is the genius behind this.
Of course.
But come on, she's choosing to have Chelsea as her supporting, anchor.
Yeah, supporting actress.
And anyone coming in there should respect that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
They really, I mean, Caitlyn going after what anyone in Haley's camp is just, honestly, I wish she was checked for that a little harder.
Yeah. I don't know why they're paying for plane tickets from Nova Scotia or whatever to get Caitlyn out here these days, but I hope they do a better job of screening guests for future episodes.
And I mean, the thing though is that, Haley obviously internalized these things, and I think she made the executive call each and every time to be above it.
Yeah.
And I think Caitlyn's actions speak for themselves.
Of course.
Obviously that's not the way that Haley talks to her guests.
Yeah.
Yeah, just silly.
I did note I picked up on a moment where I think maybe these jabs are starting to get to Haley, which makes me tremendously sad. I think Caitlyn kind of mentions, or she almost goads Haley into it, but Haley says outright, like, "Oh, I'm not a serious person," in reaction to something that Caitlyn was getting at. And that broke my heart a little bit to hear Haley utter the words, "I'm not a serious person." Haley, you are so serious. You have breathed life, brand new life into the platform, the podcasting industry. You've accumulated so many followers. You're doing amazing things for dog charities. Haley, I hope you understand how important you are to the world and to the people around you and to us. Just two guys in LA.
Please. And also, adopt, don't shop.
Yeah.
I don't want to hate, but I'm like, come on. Caitlyn's coming in talking about she got 2 dogs flown over to her from South Korea.
That was crazy. I didn't even know they had them over there.
Well, saying that in front of a person whose whole, ethos right now is just adopting animals. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Caitlyn got a little bit too comfortable this episode, I think it's safe to say.
Are you kidding me? She was ready to hold hands with the girls and sing Kumbaya after fucking spitting in their faces.
Yeah.
I just thought
she could
that
just
was
gloss over all of the attacks and.
No, and I think because she kept trying to build herself up as, I've taken therapy for 10 years, 8 times a day, this, that. I'm like, look, at the end of the day, you can't come on someone's show and talk to them like that.
No.
Okay?
They can't.
She's sitting there, and she even gets to have her wine in the shot, her bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Haley's doing her a favor by allowing her on the show. I don't want to get too catty.
Yeah.
I'm trying to stay calm and objective here,
I think
please.
this is objective.
But at the very least, use your damn please and thank yous around Haley.
Yeah.
I
mean, she got a bit of merch at the beginning, too. I mean, Haley was nothing but gracious to Caitlyn.
As always.
Yeah.
As always.
Another moment in the episode was where they're reviewing some tweets, some discourse online about Talk Tuah, how it's resonating with people online. They get to a moment where there's a bit of a joke going around that Jimmy Carter is set to appear on an episode of Talk Tuah, and it was an awkward moment where neither Haley nor Chelsea were quite familiar with Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter, for those who don't know, was a former president of the United States. He's currently 100 years old. I think has been on hospice care for going on about 2 years now. No change in status at any point. He is just holding on for dear life. But Haley and Chelsea were unaware of that, unaware of his general struggles in the moment. And so Caitlyn kind of just, gave them another jab, which is teasing them about the fact that they were unaware of their own nation's history. But it led to a discussion about setting Granny up with Jimmy Carter, former president of the United States. Granny, who we met in episode 2, supposedly has been married twice. Her most recent grandpa, Haley's grandpa, her most recent lover, lives in a back cabin on Granny's property.
Insane.
Yeah, really an interesting tidbit about Granny.
And, obviously they don't hook up or anything, so I guess Granny's been a part of the 4B movement far before Trump's reelection.
Yeah. Granny has taken this movement seriously, has been committed to it for, I think, probably a number of years. Supposedly she still does Grandpa's laundry every now and then, but for the most part, hands off, living separate lives, coexisting peacefully, but, no sexual relations.
That's a fascinating kind of relationship.
Yeah.
And I think it maybe offers us a glimpse at what a future with Pookie could look like, where it's something very comfortable.
You're back on this.
A little boring, whatever. Okay, fine, we'll get off it. Listen, by the way, the Jimmy Carter stuff,
yeah,
I thought that was another example of just the ridiculousness that was brought into the studio by Caitlyn.
Yeah. She was like kind of holding it over their heads. Like she would not reveal to them who Jimmy Carter was.
I'm like, come on, Jimmy Carter, what? He built a few solar panels? Okay, great. Reagan tore him off the White House first day of his fucking inauguration.
Look, I don't know. He was another trailblazer from the South. I think Haley could learn a lot from him and his path to success. Look, he was
a few houses here and there, peanuts. I don't think
he's farmer, and he rose to the position of president. That's a huge deal.
So you think it's wrong then? So if he's such an important guy, how come Haley and Chelsea didn't know about him? That's all I'm saying.
You can go from peanut farmer to president. How about going from podcaster to president? I feel like Haley, Jimmy Carter, I think Haley has a lot to learn from him. And I don't know. I think it's good for that she's now becoming more informed as a result of this podcast. That's never a bad thing.
Why don't you just give us your opinion? Haley turns 35 tomorrow. Okay. Would you endorse her for president?
Yeah. From what I've seen so far.
This is official. This is you being totally candid right now.
Yeah. No, she calls everything as it is. She's playful. She's having fun. I think she would usher in a new era of just having fun in America.
Well, she got a lot of votes this election.
Really?
There were a lot of write-in jokes.
Interesting.
They better not have been goddamn jokes.
I wish I'd thought to do that. I feel like I may have wasted my ballot this time around. Next time I won't. I think I'll be more considerate. Because I feel like if enough people write her in, we could probably abolish whatever thing that was that makes it so that you can only be 35 to run for president.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like if we just get enough write-ins, maybe next time around we can...
Well, and I think also what Haley's doing with her podcast, it's probably, I'm sure someone like Roosevelt is probably going nuts in his grave right now. It's like a fireside chat.
Yeah.
It's kind of addressing people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
And culture, and I think, obviously I've said it before, I would wholeheartedly endorse Haley for president.
Yeah.
Easily.
Haley, whenever you decide it's time, I think you got both of our votes.
Easily have our endorsement, and that would be the first time that our podcast would endorse the president. We didn't endorse anyone. We haven't endorsed anyone ever.
We have yet to release an official endorsement of any kind. But Haley, I think we would work to flip California to Talk Tuah.
I think we could easily flip it.
Yeah.
So the Jimmy Carter thing, would he be a good match for Granny? Honestly, I don't know. Does she like the strong and silent type? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
I think she's in a great situation right now. Why rock the boat with this Jimmy guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after talking through memes and current tweets about the show, they talk about Haley's appearance at a Mets game. Haley got to throw out the first pitch to Chelsea. Neither of them knew that that Haley was going to be throwing it to Chelsea. That was kind of revealed day of, so they were both a bit shaky when they got out on that field, but Haley aced it. She threw it directly to Chelsea and then ran to her, and they both hugged and cheered and celebrated. And then...
Well, they brought up
yeah,
whether or not Haley should be the new mascot for the Mets.
Yeah.
I know that got you a little riled up.
Yeah, I mean, they even, Haley, I think when they recorded this, the Mets were on a bit of a hot streak, and Haley's thinking that maybe she had something to contribute to it, and I'm sure maybe she did, but Haley, coming from two LA boys, the Los Angeles Dodgers stomped out the Mets, and rightfully so. The Mets, I mean, they got to be sent to the dustbin. Maybe if they axe their current roster and just rebuild from the ground floor, they might have a better chance at winning the little league World Series next year.
Of course, I mean these guys could maybe play ball with some fifth graders if they actually put Haley as their new mascot.
Yeah,
that'd be an amazing boost. But even then,
yeah.
And this is no slight on Haley.
Yeah, the Mets are dog shit.
Come on, I mean the Dodgers. They fucking ate these guys for breakfast, and then they chewed out the Yankees for lunch and spit them out.
But the Dodgers, I mean, they really blew the Mets out of the water.
They destroyed the Mets. The Mets, it's almost as if they've never stood a chance. There's your silent thunder, by the way, New York. Yeah. Yankees and goddamn Mets. That's freaking silent thunder.
It's like people literally ask themselves, how do we make a team dog shit?
Yeah.
And then they made
they were so bad.
Yeah.
Dodgers, I mean, they came in and absolutely spit roasted these guys back to back.
Yeah.
I've never seen a more just devastating fucking
blow to an entire city's morale. No. I mean, New York's going to be hurting for a while after that.
I mean, the Big Apple is rotten to the core. Toss that sucker out.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get back on track here.
Okay, of course.
A little tangent.
Yeah. I just love baseball.
Go Dodgers.
Fucking hate the Mets.
Yeah, and Yankees too.
Yeah, screw the Yankees.
What else we got?
There wasn't too much else. I mean,
did we cover just about everything?
I think we might have gotten to just about everything that really stood out this episode. I mean, keep in mind, Caitlyn was pretty overbearing throughout this episode, and you started this episode coming out the gates saying that, and I guess it hadn't really hit me just what a burden she was this episode. I mean, she was taking jab after jab, and in talking about it, which I'm glad, this is just another reason why this podcast is so important, to be in dialogue with Talk Tuah, is to just have the space to reflect on what makes a guest work and what makes them not work. And in this case, Caitlyn, I think, was an obvious flop, and I hope that in future episodes we see some really incredible, strong guests who are, more friendly to Haley and Chelsea and whoever else is in the studio.
Well, of course, and you know what? I'd like to see some recurring characters. Maybe we could even bring Granny back. I'd like to get some more out of Granny.
I'd love to see her in LA or wherever they're recording.
Sure. I'd love to talk to Grandpa.
Yeah, Grandpa. Let's bring him out of the back cabin.
Yeah. Let's see what he's got to say.
He'll put on some nice clothes after Granny does the laundry.
I'd love to see them interact with Pookie in the studio. And I mean, they even teased it, saying that maybe Pookie could come on with a blurred face and have the kind of dark, edited voice.
Yeah.
Of a serial
killer. He's in a true crime podcast.
Like he's a serial killer.
Yeah.
What do you think that reference was to? Saying, why don't you blur his face and mute his, play with his
Thinking
voice?
of Matt Rife?
Well, I'm just thinking.
Woman he killed in Haley's dream.
Well, I wonder if that was Caitlyn doing a slight to them, saying, "Have his voice be like, oh, look, a serial killer on Netflix, like you see." I think she knows that there's a little bit of discourse between Matt and Pookie. I don't know what team she's on, but
I think she's clearly Team Pookie. That's the one thing she got right this episode.
Sure. But look, I think the ideal guest for Haley is someone that's going to be able to come on, be very secure on what they're bringing to the table. Yeah. Obviously not want anything from Haley.
No.
This is going to need to be someone that really matches her freak. I mean, someone with maybe their own Mr. Pinky.
Yeah.
Right?
Someone who's not afraid to have a Mr. Pinky by their side and keep him hidden, but, bring him out when the time's right.
Yeah, we don't need another Silent Thunder.
No, we don't. Silent Thunder. I mean, that was unbelievable.
No,
I'm not going to be over that for a while.
I really that totally rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
So, anyway, looking forward to the next episode. Do you have any wants from the next episode personally? Is there anything you'd be eager to learn about?
I think it'd be fun to bring the dogs back in the studio. Episode 1, they had some dogs running around.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was a fun energy. I think they definitely made the right call in the tripods. Keeping things stable as stable as they can be.
Totally.
But dogs, I would always welcome back. Maybe Haley could do a podcast at the dog shelter or an adoption center. I think that would be fun. What else?
I don't know. I mean, I think I probably hit all those same marks. And listen, guys. Make sure that you're following along by watching Talk Tuah, okay? Because we're going to be breaking down every single episode every single week.
Yep.
So be sure to hear from Haley first and us second,
yep.
Okay?
We're in dialogue with Haley's show, and we just provide the companion piece where we just break down what's important, what you might have missed in Haley's episodes.
Yeah.
And we're having a hell of a time doing it. We're having a lot of fun so far.
I'm excited. So thank you guys for watching, Talk Tuah, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Have a great week.